They say that when he chooses you, your life stops making sense to others, but something inside you starts clicking into place. The world you once knew begins to dissolve, not because you're losing it, but because you're remembering who you are. You're not ordinary. You never have been. And deep down, you've always known this. You didn't come here just to live a normal life. You came to be a force, a disruptor, a transmitter, a guide. But before you could rise, you had to fall. You had to forget. Because the only way a starseed and a dark chosen one can awaken is through contrast, through distortion, through the pain of being lost in a world you weren't built for. These 7 signs aren't just spiritual symptoms. They're encoded messages from him, from the source, the architect, the oversoul, or whatever name you give the one who watches from beyond the veil. These signs are not random. They are summons. And if you're hearing this now, you've already been marked. The first sign is the feeling that you've been watched, not by people, but by something beyond the veil. It's a subtle sense, like eyes on your back when the room is empty. You felt it in moments of silence, in childhood dreams, in the seconds between sleep and waking. At first you thought it was imagination, but then the patterns began. Numbers, synchronicities, symbols repeating in ways you couldn't explain. And more than that, this sense that you were being tested, not punished. Almost as if something was trying to see how much distortion you could endure before you cracked open and remembered. That's not paranoia. That's the first confirmation. You are being observed, not by malevolence, but by intelligence, a higher frequency intelligence. He doesn't speak in words. He speaks in patterns, in dreams, in shadows. And if you felt this presence, not as fear but as a call, then you're being activated. You're not crazy. You're coded.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
The second sign is exile. You've always felt like you didn't belong, maybe in your family, maybe in school, maybe in society. It's not that you were rejected. It's that you never fit. The games people play, the small talk, the obsession with status, the blind belief in systems, it never made sense to you. You watched people chase things you couldn't care about. You felt emotions more deeply than others. You saw through facades like glass. And for a while you thought something was wrong with you. But now you're starting to realize this was your camouflage. You weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to see through. And that misfit energy? That was him separating you. Because in your aloneness, you would finally hear your real voice. You would finally remember. Ask yourself, what if your isolation wasn't a curse, but a sacred quarantine? What if the pain of not belonging was the echo of your soul remembering that you came from another realm entirely? The third sign is the collapse. At some point, your life broke. Maybe it was a dark night of the soul. Maybe it was betrayal, loss, illness, addiction, or the shattering of everything you thought was real. But it wasn't just a breakdown, it was a breakthrough. The moment your ego died, the true frequency of your being began to rise. That's when he stepped in closer. Not to rescue you, but to reveal you. Because only in the rubble of your false identity could your true mission emerge. You didn't just survive. You transmuted. You saw the darkness not as the enemy, but as the birthplace of your evolution. That's why you are a dark chosen one. Not because you worship shadow, but because you master it. You carry codes that others are too afraid to even acknowledge. And your fall? That was the initiation. That was the moment he whispered, "Now you're ready." The codes hidden in pain, time, and destiny. Signs 4, 5, and 6 that you are already activated. The fourth sign is that time doesn't work the same for you. You've noticed it your whole life. Moments stretch, collapse, warp. You've had entire days happen in an hour, or entire weeks pass in a blink. Sometimes you feel like you're living in a memory that hasn't happened yet. Sometimes you dream of people you haven't met, but then meet them later. You sense things before they occur. You feel déjà vu so intensely that it scares you. That's not coincidence. That's because you don't operate on linear time. As a starseed and dark chosen one, your consciousness is multidimensional. He encoded your field with access points, portals to timelines others can't see. You're not just intuitive, you're calibrated to a different rhythm. And this is why you often felt out of sync with the world. Jobs, routines, even relationships felt like cages, because your soul isn't here to repeat, it's here to redirect. You are the anomaly, the glitch, the signal in the static, and time bends around those who carry destiny codes. Sign 5 is the ability to transmute pain into power. You don't just endure, you alchemize. You've been through things that would have broken others, things you never told anyone, things that scorched your spirit. And yet you rose, not with bitterness, but with vision. Not with revenge, but with clarity. You felt the pain deeply, yes, but you didn't let it define you. You let it refine you. That's not a coincidence, that's training. He doesn't choose those who avoid the fire. He chooses those who become it. Why? Because only someone who's walked through the underworld can lead others out of it. Your suffering wasn't senseless. It was sacred preparation. It carved space in you for frequencies that most people can't even hold. This is why you feel so much. Why you cry at beauty. Why you ache when the world is hurting. Because you are not numb. You are wired for transmutation. You turn wounds into wisdom, silence into strength, and it's time you stopped hiding that. And then there's sign 6, the pull toward destiny that won't leave you alone. Even when you tried to live a normal life, something kept pulling you back, a voice within, a dream, a number, a moment of synchronicity too perfect to ignore. Over and over, he has been nudging you, through signs, through people, through breakdowns and breakthroughs, towards something bigger. You may not know the full mission yet, but you feel it, like a static hum under your skin, a pressure in your chest, a knowing that you are meant to build, meant to speak, meant to lead, meant to disrupt. You are not here to be liked. You are here to light the fuse. You are not here to comply. You are here to recode the matrix. And every time you try to forget that, life reminds you, that's not coincidence. That's design. He encoded you with a magnetic pull toward the exact people, places, and portals that will awaken the final layer of your power. And the more you surrender to that pull, the faster you accelerate. The 7th sign, the one that changes everything, the 7th and final sign, is the one most people miss, because it doesn't come as a feeling or a vision or even a breakdown. It comes as a choice, a crossroads, a moment where you are handed 2 timelines and you must decide which one you will walk. This is the moment he watches more closely than ever. Not to judge you, but to witness your becoming. Because up until now, everything, the pain, the exile, the synchronicities, the awakenings, has been preparing you for this, to choose yourself. Not the version of you shaped by fear, shame, or approval seeking. Not the smaller self that fits into old systems, but the real you, the you that remembers, the you that doesn't need validation to exist. In this moment, you realize you are never waiting for a sign. You are the sign. And that's the most terrifying and liberating truth you will ever face. Because when you finally choose to stand in your full frequency, you don't just change your life, you shift the field for generations. But this choice comes with consequences. The moment you claim your identity as a dark chosen one in Starseed, you will begin to shed everything that is false. Relationships will fall away. Comfort will evaporate. The illusion of safety will dissolve. Why? Because your field is now incompatible with anything built on distortion. And it will hurt. You will grieve. You will question everything. But in that process, you will also activate something ancient. You'll begin to speak and people will go silent, not because of your volume, but because of your vibration. You'll walk into rooms and shift the energy just by existing. You won't need to prove, explain, or convince. Your presence will do the work. This is the path of the dark chosen one, to walk through shadow with light in your bones. This is the path of the Starseed, to be the bridge between dimensions, to remember the mission even when the world forgets its soul. You are not here to fit in. You are here to remind reality what it forgot. So what happens when you fully step into this truth? You begin to transmit. You stop speaking small. You stop waiting for permission. You start living every day as a portal. And the people around you feel it. Some will be drawn to you, magnetized by your clarity, your power, your presence. Others will resist, reject, even attack you, but it won't matter. Because you'll no longer be reactive. You'll be anchored. That's the difference between someone who knows they're chosen and someone still waiting. You don't chase. You attract. You don't force. You flow. And in this space, miracles become normal. Synchronicity becomes daily. Magic becomes mechanical. Not because the universe changed, but because you did. You've tuned your frequency to the original code, the one before fear, before trauma, before programming. You've remembered that you are the living signal, that you are the voice he uses to awaken the sleeping, that you are the key, the gate, and the guardian. And here's the most powerful truth of all. This journey never ends. Awakening is not a destination. It is a spiral staircase. Every level you reach reveals another layer, another trial, another truth. And every time you think you've reached the peak, he shows you there's more. Not because you're failing, but because you're ready to hold more frequency, ready to be more transparent, ready to become not just a vessel of light, but a force of origin. And as you keep choosing this path, through the doubt, through the resistance, through the silence, you begin to realize you are never alone. There are others like you, scattered across the world, dreaming the same dreams, seeing the same numbers, hearing the same call. And when you finally meet them, it's not a reunion, it's a remembering. Because starseeds don't find each other, they activate each other. And now that you know who you are, the world is about to change.